Honorable Men Discord, Discrimination by JP Morgan Chase in Texas. Let's talk about it.
A black doctor is suing JP Morgan Chase Bank after refusing to deposit her check worth more than $16,000. Now, the doctor says the bank employees told her they were uncomfortable depositing the check, thinking that she was allegedly committing fraud. Now, BNC's Derek Lewis is live in Sugar Land, Texas, with details on what happened and the lawsuit. Derek?
Tashani, Dr. Malika Mitchell-Stewart never thought that just after finishing medical school that she would be accused of a crime that would have ruined her career. The bank has apologized, but now Dr. Mitchell-Stewart is suing for at least $1 million on the basis of discrimination. Her hard work and years of studying had finally paid off. Dr. Malika Mitchell-Stewart graduated from the University of Texas's medical school and got a $16,000 bonus check to start working. But everything changed, she says, when she went to open a new account and deposit her bonus check at this Chase Bank in Sugar Land, Texas, back in December. Dr. Mitchell-Stewart describes how the teller reacted.
She looked at the check and then she kind of looked at me and then looked back at the check and just started asking a lot of different questions, just like what I do for a living, how old I was.
The questions confused the doctor. She says the employee thought it was a fake check.
I'm getting just really anxious, kind of upset, frustrated, just to be questioning the validity of the check. I'm concerned. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I just got this check for my job.
Dr. Mitchell-Stewart says another employee who she thought was a manager also told her they would not deposit the check.
I was very confused, tried to ask her questions like, why not? And then she really just, in the end, just kept saying, I just feel uncomfortable. No real valid reason, no true explanation.
That's when she says she left the bank.
For them to take my special happy moment away was so unfortunate, and it really was frustrating and disappointing.
In a statement to BNC, Chase Bank says, we take customer experience very seriously. We have apologized to Dr. Mitchell-Stewart.
It wasn't really true like sympathy or empathy for a person that, you would expect to have like truly like apologetic, like really concerned.
Dr. Mitchell-Stewart wants money for emotional distress and Chase Bank to be held accountable.
We want Dr. Mitchell-Stewart to be made whole from experiencing these injuries at the hands of Chase. What she experienced caused great distress, and she's still living with that. And we need her to, get everything that she's owed from this lawsuit.
The new doctor says she wants justice for everyone.
Let it be known that it's not accepted that any person that works for Chase should have any kind of racial biases or treat people how I was treated.
Stewart says she wants a more sincere apology, and that she tells me she chose Chase because she thought it was a reputable bank. Tashani.
All right, Derek. To avoid all this, the check could have been deposited with the funds put on hold until the transaction was verified at both banks. Any word on why that didn't happen?
Yeah, so that's mentioned actually in the lawsuit. And Dr. Mitchell-Stewart tells me that she says that when the actual branch manager apologized, after that, the branch manager went on to say that Chase can refuse service to anybody they want without justification. Tashani.
All right, Derek. Well, we do also want to make note that JP Morgan Chase sponsors a segment and 1 hour of BNC. All right. Thanks, Derek, for that hit. We appreciate you.
So Dr. Stewart was trying to open up an account with JP Morgan Chase out there in Texas. And the check was over $16,000. It was a check that she received from medical school. And they gave her a hard time because they felt uncomfortable accepting a check of that amount. Now, this is just pure discrimination. And the doctor is suing now JP Morgan for $1 million. And I'm rooting for her. Hopefully she wins. She deserves to get the money. And the doctor is actually showing young black women, whether young or old, and this could apply for the men as well. We need to start doing the opposite of what the stereotypes say we would do, which is getting loud, yelling, causing a scene. We've perfected that throughout the years, all right? Let's be honest with ourselves. Black people, we've perfected yelling at people, throwing tantrums. We've perfected that. And no, I'm not perpetuating the stereotype by saying that. It's a stereotype that's been out there, and unfortunately for us, it's been depicted on so many occasions. But what Dr. Stewart did is exactly the way we need to operate moving forward. Dr. Stewart took a page out of the Karen book, chapter 1 in the Karen book. And she went, got her lawyer, and said, no, I'm suing. Because of how it made her feel for possible discrimination. All right, she worked hard to have the title of a doctor. And here she is bringing her business to a bank, and she's treated as though she's a scammer trying to commit fraud. She has every right to sue that place. Every right. And the crazy thing about all of this is you would think she was trying to do a withdrawal. But I guess with the withdrawal, it's already in the account. So at that point, something like this may not have happened because she's trying to do a withdrawal and she's an obvious member of the bank. So probably would not go down like this. But in any event, she's depositing a check to open an account. And I've been 2 decades removed from the banking industry because I used to be a bank teller myself. And it doesn't matter what the size of the check. Now, if it was a 6-figure check, okay, I can see how some people would feel uneasy because that's not a common check that's deposited. But even still, you're supposed to bump it up to the supervisor, right? But $16,000, now don't get me wrong, $16,000, I would love to have that in my account, but $16,000 in the grand scheme of things, $16,000 is not a super amount of money. And what I do remember from banking is it doesn't matter the size of the check because the routing number, first of all, the bank that the check is drawn from is usually on the check or always on the check. All right. As far as I can remember. And there's a routing number. And regardless of what, you're opening an account, the money's not going to be available anyway. When you open an account, the check has to clear. It has to be verified. So I don't understand why they were so nervous. At most, let's just say it was a fraudulent check. They accept the deposit. It has to go through the proper screening. If it turns up to be fraudulent, they keep that check. And most likely they would make a notification. I apologize for all the shaking. Welcome to the New York streets. You can't just drive slowly without the camera shaking all over the place. But all right, so when you deposit a check, it has to go through the proper screening. And if it was to turn up fraudulent, at most they would keep the check, they would flag the account, and that's that. It's not like she's going to get money from a fraudulent check. And I don't even know if they go as far as reporting that person, which they may. But why were the employees so terrified to accept a check of $16,000? I'll tell you why, because it was discrimination. And I'm glad she's suing for $1 million. I am glad she's suing. So a $16,000 mishap is going to potentially turn into $1 million payout. And kudos to her for doing it. Kudos to Dr. Stewart for doing that. And if you take nothing from this episode, move smarter. No, we're not going to make it easy for the banks to call the police because we're upset. So we have to be escorted out the building. We black folk have done stuff like that for many years. What we're going to do is remain calm, take down names. We're going to take down names and file complaints. And depending on the situation, like what Dr. Stewart went through, we're going to speak with an attorney. That's the way we're going to be handling things from now on. And not to be funny, we've seen the blueprint before. Other nationalities exercise the blueprint. It's like the cheat code. But for some reason, black folks, we choose to do the opposite. We get so emotional, we want to start yelling at people. But no, not anymore. We're going to do like Dr. Stewart. We're going to seek legal aid. And we're going to sue. And I decided to cover this particular story because this resonates with me. So I've been banking, not with JP Morgan Chase. I've been banking with Wells Fargo, right? And a few weeks ago, I want to say at the top of this month, at the top of February, late January, I made a substantial deposit, a legitimate deposit, and they did what most banks do, or if not all banks do. They put a hold on the account. I was a little bit annoyed by that, but okay, I get it. You put a hold on the account, right? And I was dealing with the teller. She went and got her manager, so now I'm dealing with two different women back and forth in front of the two different women back and forth in front of the window regarding my deposit. It was a little bit annoying, to say the least, right? Fine. They put a hold on the account. Eventually, everything was cleared. I was fine. I did not argue with anyone. I didn't curse anyone out. But I did express the inconvenience of there being a hold on my account for a deposit that they could verify. But that's neither here nor there. I expressed that I wasn't happy with the inconvenience, and the teller immediately started to give me a customer service number, which annoyed me even further. But I didn't curse her out. I said, you know what? Don't worry. Pay me no mind. And I left. I didn't raise my voice. I just expressed how dissatisfied I was. 2 weeks later, I go to do a withdrawal. Same exact teller was at the window, right? I go to do a withdrawal to pay rent, right? Same exact teller. Oh, let me backtrack. I go to withdraw money to pay rent because I was under the impression there was a good chance that same teller would be there. I thought about it and I was proactive. I said, you know what? Let me get my stuff ready so they don't have to ask me for stuff I know I have to give them. I just want to be in and out. I don't even want to deal with these people. Sure enough, I had the same teller. I showed up to the window. I had my bank card. I had my driver's license. They usually ask for two proofs of ID, which is the driver's license, New York State ID, and the bank card, right? I show up to the window. I had everything ready. She showed up to the window. She said, "How can I help you?" I said, "Hi, I'm here." I said, "I'm here to do a withdrawal." I didn't even say hi. I said, "I'm here to do a withdrawal," right? I didn't raise my voice. I said, "I'm here to do a withdrawal." I just wanted a transaction done, and that was it. I didn't go there looking to cause a ruckus or anything like that. I gave it because I was at a drive-in window. I put my ID and my bank card in the slot, and then I asked her, I said, "There's no withdrawal slip?" She's like, "There's no withdrawal slip." Now, All the other times I've gone there, they would give me a withdrawal slip. So I was actually surprised. Oh, no withdrawal slip. Okay, maybe protocol changed, right? And it's important that you understand, you pay close attention to this. So she didn't need the withdrawal slip. So I'm like, all right, fine. So I gave her the stuff she needed. She said, I'll be right back. Right? Eventually, the manager who I experienced 2 weeks prior when I made a deposit, she came to the window. No longer the teller, the manager came. I don't know what was the purpose of the manager coming, because this was a transaction that could have been done solely with the teller. Now, the teller can go speak with the manager about the withdrawal, and the teller herself could come right back. There's no need for the manager to come and talk to me now. But the manager came to talk to me. So the manager's like, how would you like that? How would you like that? How would you like your bills? I said, it doesn't matter. Right? Right after that, she said, I'm going to send a verification to your phone. Could you just repeat the numbers to me? And at that point, I said to myself, these women are playing with me, right? And I started to get upset. Now, I know how this plays out for brown people, particularly men. So inside the inner ninja in me, and just substitute the word, the inner ninja in me wanted to flip. But here's the thing. This is how these things play out, which is why kudos to Dr. Stewart. The inner ninja in me wanted to flip out at the window. What are you asking me for a verification code? Why are you sending a verification message to my cell phone? I gave you my ID. I gave you my bank card. And you saw me 2 weeks prior depositing a check. What extra verification are you doing when you know exactly who I am? Which is why the teller went to speak to the manager, and then the manager came to the window asking me how I would like my denominations. So I didn't explode. I repeated the number back to her. She gave me my money. I immediately, after leaving the window, looked up the phone number for corporate and made a complaint. I made a complaint. I got a complaint number, and I let it be known I want it clear to both of those women, because I described them. I didn't get their name, which I should have. I made it clear. Next time I go there, I don't want them ever asking me for a verification code as if they don't know who I am. I'm not a new member of Wells Fargo. Okay? And they've seen me before. It wasn't like I made a deposit 1 month and they didn't see me for months. I made a deposit 2 weeks prior to me doing a withdrawal. And I'm only sharing that story because that's the reason why I decided to cover this episode with Dr. Stewart. And to make the point that I made in yesterday's video about walking resume. Black men, black women understand we don't have the same leeway as other nationalities. If you don't know that by now, live a little longer. We have to be smart on how we operate. I know inside we want to just explode and just let it all out because we're upset. We're tired of not being taken seriously. We're tired of the disrespect. But we have to move smarter. See, Dr. Stewart, first of all, she was wise enough to know she has her occupation at stake. If Dr. Stewart would have made a scene and then the police would have came, would she have lost her license? No, but she recently just graduated to become a doctor, and she could have potentially thrown it all away had she not been wise. And I'll applaud her parents. I'm gonna have to assume her parents or whoever raised her right, because she didn't make that decision to just raise her voice and yell at the staff for not accepting her check. In my situation, I have life experience and I was raised right. But I have enough life experience also to know that it wouldn't have worked in my favor to flip out on two females, because they would have immediately they would have turned the whole situation around and made it about feeling uncomfortable because I'm an aggressive guy. And then when they see my photo, they could take a picture of my photo whilst I'm at the drive-through window, and they could flag my account as the angry black guy that shows up ever so often to do withdrawals to pay his rent. I know how these things play out, which is why, even though that manager pissed me off, right? This is why I just let it go and I made a complaint to corporate. Because another option I had was to not go to that location, but the other location is further out for me. I would have to go through a lot of traffic to get to that other location. All right, so I told myself, no, I'm not making adjustments to avoid these two people. These two people need to be corrected, professionally corrected. Let me take this off the stand. I told myself these two people need to be professionally corrected, because I'm going to continue to go to that branch because that works for me. That branch works for me. And that's another thing I want to encourage you all to do. Don't run from situations. Handle it on a high level. Be professional. Make it work for you. You see, Dr. Stewart made it work for her because she's going to cash out. She's going to cash out. They thought they had for lack of a better term, they thought they had a hood chick. They didn't know they were dealing with a doctor. Obviously, they didn't look at the check, because if she got it from her medical school, you know, they would have noticed that. But then again, when they see black people, some people, I'm not saying all people look at black people in a disparaging way, but those that do, like the ones that dealt with the doctor, they just saw her and was like, oh, she's young in the face, she can't be a doctor. She's black, she can't be a doctor. So, gentlemen, women, you can be whatever you apply yourself to be. This is what I try to tell you ever so often, and I'll keep telling you. You could be whatever you desire to be. I don't care what it is. Neurologist, therapist, psychologist, astronaut, doctor, physicist, engineer. You can be as brilliant as you want to be. But you can't let these roadblocks mess up your path. You can't let these things mess up your path, because they're out there. And one of the things I mentioned in yesterday's video, which I don't believe I did a great job of conveying, is it just doesn't stop. The older you get, you would think these things stop. You would think a lot of this behavior stops in high school or junior high school. And I'm here to tell you, as you get older, these things persist. Grown folks still acting like kids. I would have never in my wildest dream think I would be on the road to 50 and still dealing with adults that act like it's high school, dealing with cliques at work. Oh my goodness. Those of you young adults that are watching this video, you would think the cliques and all that type of stuff, it stops in high school. I'm here to tell you the cliques continue forever. It continues forever. But this journey is hard. It's hard. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. But you gotta fight through it. You gotta fight the urge to flip out. You gotta fight the urge to put hands on somebody. Because I know it gets to that point. I've been there. I've been there several times, even at this age. You gotta fight the urge to just snatch somebody up. You know, because it's in us. All right. We're human, all right? It's not a black thing, all right? It's a human thing. So let me make that clear. The urge to want to just like snatch somebody up and like shake them like, ugh, it's in us all right? But we have to take the example of Dr. Stewart. Play the long game, not the short game. The short game is to smack somebody straight in the face or to snuff somebody in the face. That's the short game. right? The long game is to take a deep breath, take down names, and then surprise them with your lawyer, because they think we're dumb. They don't think they look at us like animals, some people. And I have to emphasize some, because I don't want this to be viewed as a video of negativity, and I'm just trying to like make it seem like it's every turn, everywhere you turn, it's some type of discrimination going on. But it really depends on where you live. Sometimes it feels that way, right? But I'm here to say, be smart. Look at the blueprint of other nationalities, all right? Don't flip. Take a deep breath. And if you could afford to, just do your research. We have these smartphones for a reason. Do your research. Sometimes consultations are free. See if you have a case, and do like Dr. Stewart. Don't flip out and then get yourself flagged. Get your photo posted up on the wall as the angry client or customer. Nah, that's too easy. Because then they turn the victim into the villain. No longer will we be painted as the villain. We have too much intelligence for that. I'm here to tell you, we have intelligence. We're not animals. Be smart. So again, in closing, Dr. Stewart took a $16,000 inconvenience and is potentially going to turn that into $1 million payout. All because people didn't want to do their job. Unbelievable. But as always, I appreciate all of you for continuing to watch my content. Please like, share, and subscribe. I salute you all, men and women. And I'll see you on the next episode.